Hello everyone, welcome back. This is the part 2. We are still covering the fundamentals and we'll pick up from where we left off. So the next is file permissions and ownership. So this is actually very interesting because, like I said, in the Linux file system, there is the root user, which is the administrator, and there is the normal users. So what file permissions and ownership does is that it just shows who is the owner of this particular file. What permissions can this person actually do? And in terms of file permissions, so there are three types of permissions basically. There is there's a read. Make this big. So there's a read, there's a write, and there's the execute. So these are the three permissions that are available in Linux system, and they're always represented with this letter. So you would see things like RWX. So when you do ls to view the permissions of a file, you do ls-l. So like I said, this gives you more details of your file. So if you come towards this side of my terminal, you see things like dash RW dash RW dash R. So what does this mean? This is read, this is write, this is read, this is write, and this is read. Why do we have 3 reads, 2 writes, and no execute? Now, let's go back to this place. Now, apart from having 3 types of permissions, we have 3 types of users. We have the owner, we have the group, we have others. That's the user. User is like the owner, that's the owner of the file. We have the groups, we have the others, represented by U, represented by G, represented by O. So when you see something like, let me just write what I have here. I have read write hyphen read write hyphen read hyphen. So now this is divided into 3. Let's break it up. And this. So I'm going to explain all this to you now. Now, first off, I need to do something. Let's make a directory. Let's make a directory. Let's go back to, let's say directory 1. So I do ls. Okay, directory 1 is there. Let's do ls-l. And if you notice that this, there's a difference in this and this. Let me write it. This is D RWX RWX RX. So I'm going to break this up now also. okay, and this. So sorry this video is taking very long because I just really want to I want us to get a clear understanding of Linux basics, so that because it's going to help when you understand the basic things in Linux. It's really going to help you in going around your terminal, and it makes you really more comfortable in doing things that you want to do. So there's a difference, and I'm going to start from here. Whenever you see a dash before this arrow W, before all these things, whenever you see a dash, it indicates that this particular thing you're looking at is a file. It shows that it's a file. So whenever you see a D, it shows that it's a directory or it's a folder. So that's what it means. That's why you see that this one has a dash and this one has D in front of it. So it shows that, and you see the color is also different. This is white color, which I explained at the onset, that this white color, if you're using mobile XTEM, the white color indicates that it's a file, and then this blue color indicates that it's a directory. So those are different pointers to show you the different things that you're doing on your terminal. So we'll go back here. So now what does this read write means? So basically I split it into three because this tree has three different groups. So I'm going to put the U here, I'm going to put the G here, and I'm going to put the O here. So what does this mean? U, which is the user, has read for the file. Person has read and write permission on this particular file, but cannot execute. What do I mean? If someone has a read permission, it means that the person can view the content of a particular file, like the way I did cat. So I can use the cat command to view the content of a particular file. So that's the read permission. If someone has a write permission, it means that I can edit a particular file. So I did the Vim. I used the Vim editor and I edited the file that I did a couple of minutes ago. Now, if someone has an execute permission, let's say for example, now tomorrow we'll talk about shell scripting, bash scripting, and we'll make the file executable. That means there's some commands in the file, in a particular file, that can execute other commands. So I don't know if that makes sense, but the file, if it's an executable file, this particular one here is not an executable file, it's just a normal txt file. If you're using an executable file like a .sh file, and this person now doesn't have, that's the user is the person that created this file, does not have the execute command, the person cannot run that command, cannot do anything with that file apart from reading and writing. Same goes for the group. So this group is the group that this particular user belongs to. Everybody in this group can read and write this file. This user can read, write, and execute in this directory. That means in this directory now, what I mean by execute is that the person can create other files, the person can create other folders. Those are executable actions. So the same goes for the group. The group can read, write, and execute. However, when you come here, this is others. Like others means that you are not the user. That means you're not the original creator of that file or directory. You are not in that group that the user is, or you're not in the group that has been given permission. You are just like an external person entirely. So what can you do? For the file, you can only read. So if another person that is not in my user, is not in my user and is not in my group, if another person comes to this particular file, the person can only read what is there. The person cannot write to that file, cannot edit the file, the person cannot execute anything with the file. So same goes for the directory. The person can read, the person cannot create things, cannot write in a directory. So those are like the difference. So you need to understand that this first three is, once you break it up, this first RWX is for the user, the second RWX is for the group, and the third RWX is for others. So that said, I hope we understand a brief overview when it comes to understanding the read, write, and execute permission, and also the user and the group and the others. So let's go further into this. And now after this, we are seeing Vertrax and we are seeing Vertrax. Now this Vertrax is the user. That's I'm the user Vertrax. So this shows the current user. That's who is the user, who is the owner of this particular file is Vertrax. What group does Vertrax belong to is also Vertrax. So now if you're creating a user and you don't specify a group, so Linux automatically creates a group with the same name as the user. So that's why you will see most times you will see the same name as a user and as a group. That's because you didn't specify which. If you had other groups in a system administration setting or in a production settings or in a corporate environment, there will be already assigned groups. There will be already created groups. So you create that user in that group. So, but if you just do your normal user add command, it creates a user and it creates a group with the same name as that user. That's why you're seeing Vertrax coming twice. So Vertrax is the user, Vertrax is the group. Now this 4096, what's the size of that particular file or directory? This is bits, number of bits or number of bytes, whichever one. So now this file, the size of this file is 4096 bits. Size of this particular one is 7. So it's just showing the size. This is showing the date that this was created. So it was created in July 14, which is the day today which I'm recording this video. And this is the time that the directory was created. So it's created around 14:04, that's past 2 in the afternoon. And this is the name of the directory. Same thing with this, it was created around 13:53, which is almost 2 p.m. This is the name. So basically, this shows the permission of the permissions assigned to this folder or this file. This shows the owner of the file or the folder. This shows the group in which they belong to. And then this shows the size, the date, and the time that the file or the folder was created. So if you need to know the time in which a file was created, or if you need to know the date in which a file was created, or if you want to know the permission assigned to a file or a folder, you can use your ls-l, which will view everything, and then you can be able to see more information about it. So now we're going to do changing of permissions and changing of ownership. So we're going to start with changing of permissions first. So now I'm going to use this particular file as an example. So now this particular file has read and write only for the user. That's Vertrax, which is me, has only read and write in this particular file, but I want to give the user executable permission. So how do I do that? There's a command for that. The command is chmod. That's you're changing the mode of the file, or you're changing the mode of the directory. So when I do chmod is the command to change the permissions of a file or a directory. So which person do you want to change for? You want to change for the user, which is me. What permission do you want to add? You're adding execute, so you do plus. When which permission do you want to add, plus execute permission, and then you type the name of the file, file1.txt. So this is the command to change the permission of a file or a directory. You can do u, which is the user, then you add execute. If I wanted to change for the group, I'll change this to g, that's group, and I'm adding execute the permission. If I wanted to change for the others, I'll change this to o. So there's another way to go about it, but that's a little bit more complex. That's when you're using the numbers. Read has number 4, write has number 2, and executable has number 1. If I go into it, it's just really going to complicate things for people that are beginners. So if you still want to look into it, you can on your own try to look into it. But I prefer to keep things simple. I don't really use numbers. I just use this because it's something that is simple for me. So, and if I want to change for everything, let's say for example, I want to give everybody executable permission. Instead of doing u plus x, and I'll do g plus x, and I'll do o plus x, I can just do a plus x. A means all. So if you want the permission that will be applied to both the user, the groups, and others, you use a. A means all. You're applying this permission to all the different type of or different categories of people that interact with your Linux environment. So I don't know if this was actually clear enough. So let's say I want to give all of them. So you see now this has, let me do ls-l. So this has no x, and no x. So there is both the user, the groups, and others do not have executable permission for this particular file. But let's give everybody executable permission for renamed file.txt. So chmod a plus x, that's everybody has executable permission for this particular file. So if I click on enter and I do ls-l, so you can see this has x is here, x is here, and x is here. Unlike here where there were no x. Now if you notice, this file has changed to green. It changed to green to indicate that you've changed the permission of this particular file. So like I said, this is just peculiar to this SSH client. On a normal, if you're on the Linux terminal, everything is going to be white. There's not going to be a change of color. It's just part of the will I say features that comes with this mobile XTEM. So if you use PuTTY, it's going to be a different thing. If you use Terminus, it's going to be a different thing. But for mobile XTEM, when you change the permission of a particular file, the color changes from white to green. So when you link a file, it changes to another color. It could be red, it could be amber, depending on what has been configured by the SSH client. So I've given everybody executable permission. So if I want to take away that permission, okay, now I've given everybody can execute anything on this file. But now I no longer want everybody to have that permission. I want to take away that permission. What do? I just replace this plus with minus. So replacing plus with minus takes away the permission. So once I click on enter and I do ls-l, you can see that the color is back to white and there are no executable permissions that have been given to this file again. So that's basically how you change the permission. Say for example, this is part of the security features of Linux. Say you have you're working in an environment where you have the finance team, you have the HR, you have the IT team, and there are some files that the accounting team will have access to that should not be that the other departments should not be able to have access to. So this is one of the ways. There are other ways. You can use ACL, you can use Linux, but this is like on a basic level. This is one of the ways that you can use as a security measures that gives you a little bit of security over your files and your directory. So that is how to change your file permission for a particular directory or a particular folder. So what if I want to change the group? Say somebody moved from the sales group to the accounting group, or somebody moves from the accounting group to the technical group. So you would want to, as a system administrator, you would want to change the group on the system. So what does that do? If you change a user, if you take a user to a different group, the user automatically inherits all the permissions of that group. Because if Vetrax now, let's say for example now Vetrax is in not in Vetrax group, let's say there's a group called HR. Let's do let's create a group. Let's create a group. Let's see, group add. Let's say HR permission denied. Okay, I cannot add a group because there are some commands that are only executable by the administrator. So that's why this is the work of a system administrator. So they have that elevated privilege to be able to carry out some commands, like they have the power to change the group of a person. So as a normal user, I can't say, okay, I want to change my group from maybe IT to HR. No, it has to, in a proper working settings. Only the system administrator has the right to do that. So let's see if sudo is going to work. Sudo group add HR is going to ask me for password, because now I'm trying to act as a supervisor, so it's going to ask for password. So if I don't know this password, it's not going to work. However, luckily for me, I know the password. So I've created the group, and if you want to see your list of groups, you can do cat. Okay, let's do tail. I want to see tail -n5 /etc/group. So how do I know all this? How do I know where to find all these things? It's because I'm already familiar with the file system. I already know where to go to get whatever I want. That's why when I started this particular session, the first thing I did was to talk about the Linux file system, because when you know the file system very well, you know where to go and get whatever you want to get. So when I do this, you can see that Vetrax group was created when I created this Vetrax user, and the group I just created now is HR. So you can see that HR group is already created. So I want to change. Let me clear my terminal and do ls-l. Okay, so I want to change the permission, the group of Vetrax from Vetrax to HR on this particular file. So how do I do that? The command to change a group, or change the user on a particular file is chown. So if you want to change ownership of a particular file, the command is chown. So chown, this is the syntax. Chown, that's the user. You put a colon, the group, and the file or directory. So you put a new this user is, if you want to give this directory a new user, you put the user, you put colon, you put the group that you want to change it to, and then the name of the file directory. So that's basically the command. So I want to change just the group alone for Vectrax. There are other commands. There is chgrp, but I'm leaving this on a basic level. I'm not talking about anything advanced here. So I'll do chown. That's it. I'm changing the ownership of this particular file, renamed file.txt. So who am I making the new user? I still want Vectrax to be the user. However, I want to change the group that have access to this file. So I want to give the group to HR, and I do renamed .txt. So chown Vectrax is the user. I want Vectrax to still be the primary user of this particular file, so that he still retains the user privileges. But I want to change the group. I want to change the group from Vectrax to HR, and this is the name of the file. When I do enter, this might not work, and I'm going to show you why. Yes, this might not work because chown is also a super user command. So chown is also a super user command. So as a basic user, I cannot change the ownership of a file or a directory without using the super user command. So I'm just going to use sudo, and it's going to ask me for, and it just goes so. When I do ls-l, so you can see now that Vectrax has changed from Vectrax to HR. So it has changed from Vectrax to HR. So now, unlike this, that Vectrax still is the user and the group, this has changed. Vectrax is the user, now HR is the group. So whoever is in HRO group has all the group permissions to this particular file, as well as Vectrax. So it's not actually mandatory for Vectrax to be in the HRO group. No, Vectrax can be the file creator and not be in the HRO group. They are two separate things. So they are two separate things. So now we've done changing of permissions and changing of groups. So let's see what's next. Okay, hidden files. I think I already covered that when I said you use the ls-la, where you see the dots. You see all these dots and everything. So it just shows you your hidden files. So I already covered that. And okay, one of the, what's next? Okay, search utility. One of the very key command line tool that you should be familiar with is search. How to search for things. And under this particular session, I will be talking about just two commands. I will talk about the find command, and I will talk about the which command. So I'll start from the which. So the which command, basically it just looks for it shows you where a particular command is installed. Let's say, for example, now pwd is a command, but where is this command actually, like where can I find where this command was installed? So if I do which pwd, so it's in user/bin/pwd. So this is where this command was installed. So if you're having an issue with a command, or you need to tweak the way a command works, you can always go here. So I can do which ls is a command. If I want to find where ls is, I'll do which ls and user/usr/bin/ls. So that's basically what we use which to do. But the next command I'm going to use is, I'm going to talk about, is find. So find command is used to find. You can use it to find the type of file. You can use it to search. You can use it to search according to the type of file. You can use it to search according to the name of the file. You can use it to search according to the date that the file was modified. So there's a lot of, let's see, file hyphen help. So there are a lot of arguments that you can use with the file command. So if you check here, you can see I said for this -z, it tries to look for file inside a compressed file. So if you are trying to look for something inside a compressed file, use -z. If you're trying to look for read the file names to be examined by a file. So if you are trying to search for something in a file, use -f. If you're trying to search for something by name, you can use -i. So it's just a whole, there are so many arguments that you can use with it. So that's why the help and the manual page is very, very important. So let's say, for example, now I want to search for a file that has a minimum size of 5 megabytes. So I'm going to let's say, okay, minimum size of 2 megabytes. So I'll use the find command, find, then where, okay, let me show you let me just type the syntax of how it works. I'm going to shift this a little bit up. So how find command works is that you type the command find, then where do you want location? So you need to specify the location in which you want this command to go and search. So you need to specify the location in which you want the command to go and search. So if you want to include a type, you do -type. If you want to customize a different type of file, that you want a different find, basically the default is it's going to look for name. It's going to search by name. That's where find was actually made. It searches by name, default searches by name. But let's say you don't want to search by name, you want to search according to something else. So you have to specify the type. So when you do -type, then you now do, if it is a file you want to find, you do f. If you want to find a file. Now, I want to find the file, and then I want to check for, I want to also do size of the file. Which file am I looking for? Looking for plus 2 MB. So what does this say? This searches this particular location for a file, for every file that has a size of 2 megabytes, and it shows it. So it searches the location that you specify for every file that has a size of 2 megabytes. So let's try this. So I'm going to type find, and what location are we going to search? Let's search this /etc location. So the content type is a file. So we'll do type. The type is, we want to search a file. Size is 2 megabytes. So if I hit enter, so it's going to show me, so we can see a bunch of output here, but you can see that everything has permission denied. So it just means that I'm not authorized to access this file. Like I earlier stated, that I'm running these commands as a normal user, and the normal user has some restricted privileges. So, but we can see that there is these files they fulfill this criteria. They are files and they are lesser than 2 MB in size. So that's one of the ways for you to use the find command. So another command that is even more commonly used than the find command is the grep. Grep is used to it's also a search tool. So you can use it to search for a keyword, or just basically you can use it to search for a line or whatever you want to use it to search for. So it's also a search tool, and you can there are different ways for you to use grep. So you can use grep, then you can use let's do grep -help. So if you scroll down, you can use grep to, you see patterns, sections, and interpretation. But first of all, you see how it is used. Grep, then the option, the pattern, and the file. So for example, grep -i, hello world, and this. So what this means is that you're searching for the phrase hello world in this file and this file. So basically, that is what -i means. -i means that you're ignoring case sensitivity. So hello world can be, even if it is capital letter or small letter, once you put the -i, it ignores both the, if it's capital letter or if it is small letter, and just gives you the exact match. So this is what -i is one of the most common use, but you can look through all this and try it, and you can try it when you are free or in your leisure time. So I'm just going to do something similar. So I'm going to do grep -i. So I'm stating that I don't want, even if it is capital letter, even if it is small letter, just give me something. And let's search for the word error. So I want to search for the word error. So I'm going to search for the word error in what location. So let me also type, okay, in what location do I want to search for? So let's search for, let's see /var. Let's check if there are logs containing error. Let's check system logs. Okay, let's see if there are any errors here. Okay, so if you notice, all the errors, all the places that the word error comes out are highlighted in red, and you can see this one now. The E is in capital letter, but what I typed here is small letter. So, but with that -i, it ignores case sensitivity. So anything you search for, as long as that word is there, that phrase is there, it will bring it out. So this is one of the things that you can use to quickly debug when you experience an error when you run a particular command, or when you have when you run a particular program, because most of those error logs are usually stored in the var/var/log. So you can always go there. You can also use it's also stored in journal.ctl. So you can use the grep command to streamline your search. All these are just output manipulation, so that you don't have a full screen. You are able to tailor your output, the output of each command. You're able to tailor it to your specification. So there are other things that you can explore, like there's the pipe, there's awk, there's sed. So because of the length of this video, I'm just going to skip all that, but feel free to always probably I would advise that if you're a beginner, you can go through a proper Linux course or proper Linux class just to understand all of these concepts. So the next part, let's see what we have next. So we've talked about search utility. So man, pages, and help. I believe that if you're following up till this moment, you would have seen me use man, page, and help. So now I just used the command grep, and I did -help. So what does this do? -help, it just shows you a quick overview of how you can actually use a command. That's the options that you can add to a command. So if you're trying to run a command and you're not sure the arguments or the options to use, you can use -help. It just gives you a quick overview, a quick description of what it does for you. But if you want a more detailed explanation for each argument or for each command, you use man, then you use grep. So when I click enter, it takes me to a page. So if you notice, it's basically like the same thing. So but this one, it just gives you, the explanations are more detailed. and you can keep scrolling down, you can read through, and to get clearer understanding before you use a particular command. So I can quit this pressing Q. Once you click on Q, it quits. So those are the two commands for man and help. So man is a command for you to get. It's like a manual that gives a very broad description of whatever command you want to run, or whatever argument you want to add to a command. So why the hyphen help just gives a quick overview of what you can actually do with those commands. So the last for today is user account management basics. So basically here I'll be talking about creating of users, creating of groups, adding users to groups, and a few other things. So the first thing we are going to do, I know at some point in the video, I think in the first video, we created a user using the user add command. So we created a user using the user add command, which is DevOps. We created a user DevOps. So let's confirm. How do I confirm that? If I do pwd, I'm in home/vetrax. So let's change our directory to the root directory. So if I click on enter, I do ls, I cd to home, because I said home is where all our users are stored. So if I do ls, see vetrax, okay, that means I think our user was not created then, but that's fine. So we're going to create a user now, so we can use user add. Let's do DevOps, and I click enter. Permission denied. That's because I'm not running this as a super user, so I have to use sudo. So you can use sudo user add or sudo add user, so whichever one is going to work. So user add, I'm going to ask for password, and I'm going to give my password. And to switch from a user to another user, what you do is su. If you do su means switch user. So you do su, then you specify the name of the user you want to switch to. So when I click on enter, it asks for password. Now, switching to user, now I didn't give it a password. So if I type a password, it's supposed to deny. Authentication failed. Now, when you add a user, or when you just create a user, before a shell can be created for that user, before that user can actually be existent in the system, you need to give it a password. When you give a user a password, that is what validates the creation of that user. So that's what creates a shell for that user. Now I understand why the user was not created the initial time that we tried it. That was because I didn't give it a password. So to give a user a password is use passwd and so DevOps, and you click on enter. But before I click on enter, let's confirm that the user was created. To confirm that the user was created, you go to the /etc/password and you click on enter. So we can see it here, DevOps, it was created. So it just shows that the user was created. So let's clear, then let's give the user a password. You may not view or modify password information for DevOps. So I had that error because I was not operating as a super user. So now let's give it a password 290. So type. Okay, so password updated successfully. So now we can switch to the user. So when I do su and I do DevOps and I click on enter, so I'm switching to DevOps. That's the DevOps user that we just created. So let's type the password that we have just created and I click on enter. So now I'm in the users. Who am I? So who am I is showing that I'm DevOps. So now it's showing that I'm DevOps. I'm in DevOps shell. So now I can do, I can't perform operations on this particular user's shell because, like I said, only the admin user can perform operations on all accounts. As a normal user, I can switch to another normal user's account and perform operations. I don't have that permission. Only the admin can actually create a user, can give the user a password, and also carry out operations on the account of those users. So that's why I can't do ls. That's why I can't do some other basic commands on this user's shell. So when I do cd, when I exit, I need to exit. So before I exit, let me try something. Let me do cd tilde. Cannot cd to home/devops. Okay. So let's exit. Let's see. Okay, so that's basically to add user. So to check the groups that you have in your system, so that's where you type the command groups. When you type the command groups, it shows you the groups. HR, that's Vetrax, ADM, CD-ROM, sudo, and all that. So we created a group in the first video. Let's confirm if that group actually exists. So the group exists. So DevOps group also exists. Like I told you, the moment you create a user, if you don't explicitly define a group for it, Linux will create a group for the user with the same user's name. So that's why you have DevOps as a user and DevOps as a group. Then you have the HRO, they have the Vetrax group. So to create a group, for those that probably did not watch the first video, but I would advise that you watch the first video, or probably you didn't pay attention when I created a group. So the command to create a group is group add. So if you click on group add, if you type group add, you can specify whatever group you want to create. So let's create a group called technical. So if I click on enter, sudo group add. So let's confirm that if that group exists, we would do this. So you can see that the group technical exists. So now if I want to add a user to a group, so the command to add a group to add user to a group is user mode. That's user modify, like you're modifying the characteristics or details of a user. So, and I'm just going to type the syntax over here also. So command is user mode -a -g. So this -a and -g is you're adding a user to a group. So the name of the group you want to add user to, and then the name of the user. So basically this is the syntax: user mode -ag, name of the group, and the name of the user you want to add. So let's try this command on our terminal. So remember, we need a super user privilege to be able to do this. So -ag, the group that I want to add to is technical. That's the one we just created. And the user I want to add to this group is, I want to add the DevOps user to this particular group. So when I click on enter, I didn't get any error response, but let's confirm if the user was added to the group. So when you do this, if you notice, before I ran this command, this particular technical, there was nothing attached to it. It just has the name, the group ID, and nothing attached after this colon here. Usually what will be here is the users that have been attached to this group is what usually shows after the colon. But when I first did this, there was no user. However, coming down here, you can see that there is the DevOps user there. I can even do it again and add sudo user mode -ag. I want to add vetrax to the technical. I want to add vetrax to the technical group, and so when I click on enter and I do cat, so you can see vetrax has been added. So it's going to show you, as long as if you keep adding users to the group, it will keep showing. So that's basically how to add users to a group. So that said, we've learned basically all that we need to know for now. So if there are any other things that we need to understand in Linux, the more we progress in this challenge, the more we get clearer understanding about it. So we've covered file system structure, terminal navigation, file and folder management, viewing and editing files, file permissions and ownership, hidden files, searching for files, manual and help pages, and then user account management. So I'll be stopping here for today. It's really been a pleasure having to be with you guys. I know this is actually a long section, so we had to break it into two. So tomorrow would consider shell scripting, and we'll just do the basics of and other things regarding Linux and fundamentals. So that will be all from me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and also share this page so anyone who will be interested in also following this DevOps journey, who is also starting or who is trying to solidify their knowledge of DevOps. So that will be all from me. Cheers.